how the show is called. People are very upset because they got muted, and I'm very sad for them. They'll get over it though, I bet. Our guest tonight is a representative from Fan, Space Donnie. Perhaps you'd like to introduce yourself.
I'm Space Donnie on Discord. Fan hasn't had a Discord. We were still hopping around on the IRCs. So my in-game is McKay Warrior, and I've been around kind of in the face of Fan for a little while, being the point of contact for other alliances and just generally keeping us in the loop as best as we can.
Pretty good. How long have you been a member of Fan?
2012. My dad was in it, but I wasn't 18 at the time. So once I turned 18, I joined Fan and Fan family, but officially joined in 2012, and then became senator in 2014, I think.
It's been a very long time for all of us, I feel. You guys have been around for a very long time, and I believe Fan has probably the best history for defensive force compared to anyone else. Obviously you were a bit too young to have participated in that, but how do you feel about your current situation with Cowboys?
Well, it's a good time. We've been looking for a good fight for a while. They came in kind of out of nowhere, but we always kind of figure biggest kids on the block, eventually they're going to fight, and we were getting up there in the ranks. Eventually somebody was going to come knocking on our door.
Them or DVDC or there's I get what you're saying. There's always people in the top that do that. You guys are faring pretty well, although it's kind of difficult to do damage to Cowboys at the moment because if I look at their charts, I believe they're at something like 85% of their 86.82% of their total NS is technology currently. So
we're fighting some nuclear zombies, that's for sure.
So they're basically just tech and then nothing else.
Maybe hopefully they'll buy some more infrastructure, burn that war chest a bit, but we'll just kind of keep eating those nukes.
If Turb would really like to participate in the conversation, he can, but I don't know how well it's going to go for anyone involved. And it's actually he was server muted for the record. But there you go. Feel free to talk shit to Fan if you'd like.
I like Fan. I don't like you.
Okay, that's fine then. Back to muted. Regardless.
On the Cowboys Discord right around the time the war started, and pretty cordial. I think these are just two alliances that like to fight, and we're not gonna roll over. We're kind of a perma war deal because the longer we get to fight, the longer we actually feel like there's a point in playing this whole game.
I mean, casualties are my primary belief.
Electrons, anyway.
Up to 152 currently. Because think about it, with everything else, you can buy it. You can't buy casualties.
It's tough to get that War Memorial Wonder, Yeah. That's the one you really have to earn.
I mean, if you'd like, we can get a representative from Cowboys to sit on here, discuss what they're interested in at a future date. Rock is here now, but I don't think he cares in the slightest anymore.
I mean, bring him on now. I think from what I understand, it's pretty much just a mutual thing. Two people just looking to fight. We were there. We're or anything like that, so they didn't have to worry about a big pile up, and good fight for them.
You definitely were probably the only people besides GPA that was left in range of them. That's not like Irons
Looking-
or NPO.
Yeah, I was kind of looking around. I checked in at Old Guard and some of those other bigger alliances that were around, but anymore it's kind of lonely in those top tiers. See still, but I wouldn't imagine Cowboys would go after them.
No, they're also kind of running out of members there.
Well, it's the game's definitely dying, and only seems right to have a bunch of nuclear zombies on their doorstep in the end game.
Yeah, see, I personally am supportive of people, just burning their war chest and fighting, because it really is all that there is left of this game. And
I mean,
even when the game was popular, that's like even when you had 40,000 people here, war was the best part of the game. No one wants to sit around collecting pixels.
to be the best part, you figure around Christmas time and then summertime when all the kids were out of school, there's going to be some big fight, and every time in between there was just aligning yourself and picking the right alliances and hoping you wind up on a winning side of that. But that kind of stopped right after PO got rolled. People just kind of stopped fighting, and then wars started getting more and more about just kind of a one-sided slogfest that would just end in peace mode or something like that. I mean, feels like really after like 2014, it's a death spiral it's in now.
I mean, tech kind of got inflated, and then
Had that big tech roundup a couple of years back where there were people kind of abusing the system and getting tech when they really shouldn't have been. So that kind of ruined the game. I mean, what are you going to do when you've got Kevin out there and he's moved on to bigger projects, I'm sure, and
I mean, we're basically just some extra income.
Yeah, exactly. He'll keep us around until it costs more to run the server than it does to bring in revenue,
Yeah, exactly. And Term, I believe he's talking about like the Great War era, like way back in the day.
Great War, even after Viet Fan, you still had that cycle of Christmas wars, then summer wars. It was good times.
The occasional Halloween war as well, for good measure.
Well, that was when we had too much candy in our system anyway.
I mean, generally speaking, one of the actual interesting things I find about Fan is the fact that you guys are all over 18, where comparatively speaking, the average age of Alliance is generally skewed kind of young up until recently. Like, how would you attribute like maintaining a community for that long due to the fact that you're adults? Do you think that helps, or do you think it is a hindrance?
I don't think it really hindered it, but I don't think it helped either. Our big thing was we pulled in a lot of people from ARFCOM, which was a kind of firearms community website, and we just kind of said, hey, we're playing this game, we're kind of building a community. So what's really kept us around is, besides our absolute hate and just sticking it out to the bitter end, no matter what Fan looks like. But a lot of us are, we're in gun clubs where we talk outside. So it's more of that community centered around, firearms. We've got a lot of barbecue talk on our forums. That's what kind of keep us around the most. We were one of the alliances that was a group of gamers that happened to play this game. You had a lot of alliances. Now, I used to be a member of Invicta. Invicta now is very much a community of tight-knit group people. But in the beginning phases, it was much more of, these are people who are playing a game. They have a common interest. Now it seems most alliances are like Fan, where you've got your good group of friends who just like talking, and we're mostly just playing and sticking around with the people we know.
Generally speaking, people do something out of the game, but that's not the end, whether politics and war or whatever, or actual video games.
Right. And whole over 18 thing, that was a decision that was made really early on, really just so we weren't worried about posting anything. There's always those legal things with
Yeah.
the internet. So we knew that we've got a solid not safe for work thread going, and we we like to keep it that way.
Yeah, we have our own methods of restricting that type of stuff, but I do definitely think that the older people it does almost help depending on how you want to use like the resources available to you. Because like for us, it's like even this right now, obviously Discord. I can just ping you on Discord, and then if you have a phone with Discord installed, you're just like, oh, I have to check my nation.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's one of those catch-22s. You're old enough to be able to spend money monthly on a game, and you're old enough to really dive into these community groups like Discord or really all of Cybernations without any real worry. Always leery when there's younger kids doing that, because the internet's just a terrible place, and I hate to say it, but it just is. But then you get to that point where, I was working 70 hours this week, and sometimes logging in at midnight just to do an attack really didn't seem all that worth it.
Yeah. And depending on where you live, like the time zone can even be even worse than that.
Of course, I always kind of wondered about the age of nations. I always wondered if, especially in like 2016 going forward, if alliances that were pretending to be younger kids were really just kind of multis playing a bigger game. One of those Planet Bob conspiracy theories out there.
The case, though. Like that's happened several times, so it's actually not entirely untrue.
Well, and I think a lot of people realized when wars stopped being as cyclical as they were, it was more about the spy game in the background. So you get people on 50 different forums running 50 different multis, all doing their own game, and that was fun to them. And I mean, it kind of mirrors, you get those spy communities, and they're just doing their thing.
It's actually really funny for me to think about that, because how many people I can think of that they multied probably like 10, 15 times, got caught every single time, and just kept doing it.
It was always a slap on the wrist, right? It was never a real IP ban or anything like that. And it was just fun for people. And I think maybe that's probably part of the reason why Cybernations is in the state it is, where you had a lot of people gaming the system and admins and Kevin not being able to keep up with it.
I mean, it's pretty much universally agreed that like tech has a large part to do with it, because it's about efficiency. And if I'm just shoveling tech into your nation 600 every 10 days, you're automatically going to have an advantage. There's no way to like counter that due to the nature of slots.
And we did a Pi program back when we started realizing that how important tech was. So we had people sending to one so they could send to another, so they could reimburse the first one. We had this real train, and it was really efficient for the first year. And then we started getting people dropping off, and it's tough. I can there were people that definitely abused it. There was people that definitely tried to do it a normal way, but especially now, getting that activity in alliances is just a difficult thing to do.
There's very few people that are even maintaining their slots all that well.
I should probably be taking in tech or sending out tech, but kind of what's the point?
I'm at a size that I'm comfortable with.
And I've been sitting at about 100 nation strength until recently, thanks to those darn Cowboys. But I liked it at that area. There was always a fight to be had. Never really wanted to get in higher, and it's just so much work. Props to the Promised Land out there, just getting as giant as it was. That's definitely some tough work.
Get some assistance with that, to be fair. It is impressive nonetheless, but he did definitely manipulate the system quite a bit, because he had to pick the right targets. They had to be inactive, have a lot of land, all that good stuff.
I mean, maybe 2 years ago, Fan was starting to get those, 1 or 2 hits by DBDC periodically, and we actually figured the Cowboys attack was eventually going to be DBDC, where they were just testing the water, seeing what type of response was out there, but actually started seeing those one-off attacks just to knock people below so they couldn't keep up.
That's what they have always done. Is they always target people that are close to the 250 mark and then just knock them out of it. It's a smart way to do it, though, because then you're minimizing the amount of damage that you're taking and maximizing the amount of damage you're doing. So
they realized it pretty early on that nobody could really test them, even if they were just 20 nations or so. Nobody, there wasn't. You don't see these big giant alliance-wide attacks anymore. You don't really see anything like that. You see the blocks, and the blocks are operating as they're doing, but you don't see like Great War level politics being played anymore.
I enjoy that he's complaining he's not even in the channel.
I know I'm so rusty at Discord. It's always fun to also just poke him.
So Terminator, by the way, is he's in Polar. Not sure whether or not he's government, but he's an interesting character. I enjoy him quite a bit.
Yeah, he's not in Gov
anymore.
anymore.
Too seriously. But,
he's an elder at this point. So he has a say in what happens, but he's not Gov.
Okay. I figured it's something like that.
Yeah, I was wondering if I was going to get a little bit of heat for that comment on the Promised Land. It's always good to just feel out the audience, see what they're doing.
I mean, I
For one, Snix I reached out to first because I saw GPA got attacked by Cowboys. So shout out to you and GPA. He actually brought up a while ago, during Viet Fan, or right around that time, I was actually part of GPA. So he pulled up a couple of my posts. I had one post, and I was younger at the time, and my post was, "I'm getting attacked by M. Can somebody please let me into their alliance?"
Nice. You got tech rated into GPA.
Exactly. I mean, M was their thing. They'd just go after nuns and non-aligned, and yeah, it's always fun seeing the internet's forever, so you get on that forum of GPA, and I'm reminded of I was young when I was playing this game early on.
Oh yeah, I was a total idiot too. But I'm still here. Apparently, anyway.
Combe syndrome in our case.
I like to say sunken cost fallacy generally, but
yeah,
all those good memories,
all those good memories. I mean, Cybernations is fun. It's fans been looking for the new game to play for a while now. We didn't really get into it. We started older back in the day, and now we're a little even older. So finding a good game for all of us to play is a little tough.
Politics and War is what most of the political people have gone to, but it's not as. The mechanics are interesting, but they're still not perfect. It is better, I will fully acknowledge, though. Adding resources and stuff makes it so it's a little bit more balanced of a game. For Cybernation, there's literally just cash and tech is the only resources that matter.
We actually had Astro Empires we were really big into, and then we bit off way more we could chew. That was before Viet Fan, and out quick to just take us out before before we got too embedded in the game. But then Tribal Wars was really big. I don't know if y'all ever played that, and I just recently saw a commercial for it that it's still running. So
I did not know that game is still running.
It's to mobile now too.
Well, that's the real trick now. If you can have a mobile app, you can make a lot more money. Which obviously everyone agrees that Cybernation should do, but it's never going to happen.
I mean, with a mobile game, nobody really expects it to be fair either. I think everyone went into Cybernations thinking that this was going to be a fair game, pretty even, but pay to win. I mean, if you donate every month, all your donations for a month in one day of an attack, so tech heavy.
What happened to yeah, exactly. To Themis, because they probably lost well, I would say at least 10 grand worth
That was
of
insane. I just never saw the benefits. I saw the benefits of trying to refer people. That always made sense to me, but gosh, that's a sinkhole right there.
well, $300. You can do the math out yourself if you'd really like. It was $300 a month for several years.
I mean, it was that's ridiculous. I mean, I would personally pay $100 just to have a red skin for Cybernations instead of the boring blue, but
Yeah, it's all about the cosmetic choices.
that's right. Go back to cosmetics for paying for games.
I really doubt that anyone in this call has actually donated to this game.
Anyone who's still donating, I mean, they've probably sold their computer. It's a heroin addiction at this point. Audience.
That was pretty good. But it's true. It's like we're doing nothing here. 3,491 is all that's left.
I mean, shout out to Kevin though. I mean, kind of game
This game probably
we all got
lasted,
together.
If you think about it that way, it lasted probably more than he ever imagined it would. He probably thought this would last for like a year.
It's still in beta. I mean, he never really finalized it. And truth be told, I think it really got too big too quick, and he wasn't expecting that.
Yeah,
I mean,
and then he got overwhelmed, I think. And then he had his kid, the whole, life happened.
focus became more of the tournament Cybernations, which I never played, but a lot of people seem to really like it.
Well, the plan, I think, originally was he was gonna, do stuff that's like, improvements to the game there, and then, actually improve the game. Never actually happened, though.
Yeah, my pops was in the Navy, and he always got upset that there was no Navy. And when they finally introduced the Navy into Cybernations, he's like, "Oh, cool!" And then I think his nation got deleted like a month later, maybe 2.
Yeah, they added the whole vacation mode now.
I think that's a great way. I think that's extended the life of the game, to be honest, because you get people who, yeah.
Then you'll forget about it, and then like a year later, you'll be like, "Oh, I wonder how that game's going."
Yeah, to address the comments real quick, ARFCOM got really, really bad year afterwards. Now we don't really have any fan members still on ARFCOM because it's just toxic.
You're going to actually repeat that because he's not even in the voice chat right now.
Us.
Wonderful, right?
Just getting back to that, I don't know. Do you feel like the internet has gotten worse?
It has.
It feels worse. It's I don't know when it switched over, but of course you had, I mean, in the early days of Cybernations, people taking down each other's forums when it got bad enough. So maybe we just never really saw the darker side of
and IRC channels. We had
I mean,
hackings.
I like to
4chan's,
program as well, but when you program to piss off people in a game, I mean, what's the point?
4chan's entire alliance. That's literally what they did.
I remember
They stole the game's coding and then they put down the forums for like 3 days.
I mean, we switched over to a much more secure site, but originally we were using, what was it, like Invasion Free for forums,
Yeah.
and we got an attack and had to get taken down because of some knuckleheads and what they chose to post. Just nasty, nasty times back then, and now it's just exposed into the entire internet.
Yeah, now nobody even like cares about that. They're like better dying.
It was kind of cool. It was said on the Cowboys forums that they were attacking people because the game was ending, but now more and more people are starting to come back on because of their attacks. So it's kind of cool to see some of the older players still around. See people and see that Cybernations still has at least a little bit of a pulse.
The thing that's interesting though to me is like it's almost like the alliances themselves don't even matter all that much.
So much
Like
anymore.
obviously it is like core groups, but like the politics side is not. It's just not there anymore.
Politics
We
is,
fall on each
well,
other too many times.
yeah, we're the big kids, you're the big kids. Let's fight for a little bit and call it a day. Just because I think we were all waiting for that big giant end of the game war. War chests are just ridiculously high. I won't call out any of yours, Cowboys, but I know all of them. Everyone just kind of expected for a big end game, and it never really happened. So we're all just kind of sitting on too much.
So your options apparently are to join a GPA or join Polar.
Yeah,
Personally, I'd rather not join GPA because I would refuse to use peace mode and then they would kick me out. So
you could ghost Cowboys and join the war, or you could ghost Fan to join the war. It's just an open range out here for a big old fight. Some people who are still pissed off at Fan or Umbrella, come on and join the party.
That's also another thing though, is I feel like people get punished more heavily for ghosting recently, and I don't think that you should necessarily punish people for that as much, depending. Like there are certain people that do things that are deserving of separate punishments, but
I mean, we try to keep the ghosts to a minimum. The tight knit group, and we don't want anyone to steal our thunder, you know. Like I ghosted a couple alliances just to join their fight for a little bit. Approved, and I made it pretty clear, never took down the Fan flag or anything. But it was, for a while, that was really the only way for Fan to fight, was to kind of mercenary for other alliances.
Meanwhile, I've just found myself usually on the losing end of wars. But hey, at least then you're never running short of targets, right?
That's right. You and me both. I think the win-loss of Fan is a little skewed.
But you survive. That's the important part.
Yeah, you hear that, Kevin? We're sticking around till the end, whether you like it or not.
That's why I think most people are here, out of spite.
Absolutely. We've all played this game for so long, and I don't know if it's just we're sick of it, we feel like prisoners that we can't get out, or we're just kind of ticked off that the game died like it did.
I believe that the Mushroom Kingdom member Banksy once said, "I'm so cynical and jaded it hurts to type." How most people are felt, I think.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, Fan, we had an IRC, but not really. I mean, we were just keeping up with each other, and a lot of the times it felt that we were maintaining nations just because we wanted to maintain our trade circles so we didn't screw over one of our other members, you know?
I would highly recommend bringing up like Discord to your members.
It's a security thing.
I mean, I can understand that too, though. The security issue.
We have other ways of keeping in contact. We just generally don't need it. I've been kind of letting him know still in the forum that this is how people are talking in Cyber Nations if we want to get more involved, because right now we're so just isolated. I mean, it's just me for the most part doing PR and reaching out to other alliances, and I think whether they like it or not, that's how we're operating from now on.
Personally, I've just found that it's just helpful to get people on here simply to get them active again.
I mean, I think we've all accepted that this game is dead. Anything
sure,
we do
but
from now on, the game is still dead, and just kind of like I've listened to CN Radio, but this is my first time actually being on it. It's pretty special.
Well, then you should know that I'm too stubborn to quite give up. Drag
Yeah,
it out a little bit longer.
Yeah, for all the WWE fans out there, I feel like Sting just getting to do a WWE match one last time.
Well, I feel like every day.
Looks like in the chat we might get to see a global war start up after all.
I doubt it.
Nick.
It's pretty standard for term.
Like I said, I'm kind of surprised there haven't been just random wars started up. I mean, I always kind of figured eventually NPO and Iron would decide to just see who is the bigger kid.
Everyone already knows the answer. Everyone already knows the answer to that question, so never had to been asked.
They both rolled us in Viet Fan, so
yeah, but I think NPO would kick the shit out of Iron.
I don't know. Iron seemed more organized back when.
Yeah, but that million extra tech is a lot.
Absolutely, we're learning that right now.
They got 1 million extra tech and then 30 extra members, so really thinking they would wipe the floor. Also, Iron's at war right now, but you know.
I know. I'm saying that nobody's fighting these random wars, but people are all over the place. I wanted the big kids to fight, you know.
One of the reasons why I'm actually happy about the NG versus Iron War, because NG is a much smaller alliance. Like, kudos to them for picking up on the big kid.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's the problem is there's just no more coalition fighting anymore. I mean, it's you fight and maybe they'll join. I mean, there are still some NPO members out there, if you're listening, Dilbert, that we'd love to. What's the point? That would be a suicide charge. But we still remember who were the turncoats against Fan during Viet Fan. Make sure and check on who's still really playing. And it looks like most of the turncoats from Viet Fan are still with NPO.
What a shock.
Well, and of course, to be fair to them, I mean, Jack Tar, rest in peace. He was in PO for a while and then joined with us because he thought we were more fun. So I guess there are some good guys at NPO.
NPO has a lot of very interesting members simply for the fact that they have very ancient people, let's say. Like Dilbert, for example, who is still technically around sometimes.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of credit. I mean, how often are we going to get a CN radio? We've got to get all the shout-outs we can. Very least, Dilbert knows that, we still hold a grudge, so that should make him feel kind of special.
I'm still jealous that he went to school with Ariana Grande.
That's funny.
No joke. No joke. He actually really did.
I wish I had a friend who went to high school with Demi Lovato, and I'm just like, where were all the popular people when I
Yeah,
was
right?
growing up? After that class of 2012, you guys need to do more for me because I can't brag about most of you.
Can't brag about anybody who went to my school.
We were
Actually, looking at their list, Bart 416 is in NPO. He's also apparently one of the largest nations in the game. 14.
It's
90,000 tech. 87,000 if you want specifics. A lot.
I want an official answer. Cybernation's poll. What is too much tech? Like eventually it just has to be too much, right?
For me, it's a 1-1 ratio. I feel like that's pretty good.
And it's been holding well, but I like the 100 tech answer.
Yeah, because if you have 100, then you have too much, and then you got to give it away.
What's the minimum you need to do a Manhattan project? That's the minimum. That's the maximum amount you need.
2,000 actually for the WRC.
So everybody stop at 2,000, and we'll have a big old infrastructure war next. Your first on CN Radio.
I would actually be down with organizing, like, the one thing we were talking about the other day, like, long ago, months ago, was literally getting a bot that just randomly generated wars that could possibly happen. Because we could pretty much just plug in everyone's information and then just have it just spit out random wars, and then we just send it to people, and it's like, you got to do this.
It's all war games all over again. Strange game. Seems the only way to play is to not play. Or only way to win is to not play.
Oh no, they either declare the war or else they get 3 wars declared on them. That's their choices.
The McKay Warrior and Mogar cabal situation where we're just orchestrating giant wars based on, well, if you don't attack, somebody else might.
I'll find someone to hit you.
That's right, somewhere out there. And I don't even think we should do it for the 250 nation or 250k nation strength. Let's do it for the under 1000s, just to really shake things up. Too much focus on the big nations. Let's give a spotlight back to the little ones.
We could open up a gambling thing. It'd be kind of like a dog track thing where you just you go in, you place your bet on a nation, and a week later you either get something or you don't.
Snicks, I've got 6 million on random small nation number 1.
You have to be out of peace mode in order to actually send you tech, though, unfortunately.
Peace mode? GPA, can you please get out of peace mode? Get you except for Cowboys again.
Wait, is that a war flag, by the way, that I'm seeing? GPA has a PM flag for their war flag. Why did no one tell me this?
Oh man, good times.
It's literally called PM. That's what it says.
I love GPA to death. I've never understood their philosophy on playing this game. They enjoy it, and good for them.
They're my absolute favorite people. I wish that I could actually be neutral enough to be a member, because it's literally the opposite of everyone else's logic.
To GPA is the weirder, hippier, maybe stoner version of fan. They're neutral, but we're all about the attack, and they're all about, peace and hugs and getting along with your neighbors.
They just want everyone to just, trade tech and have a lot of infrastructure.
philosophies. They believe that peace is going to bring us all together. We believe that just hitting each other really hard is how you make your best friends. No,
I gotta say, I do dig the flag though. That's a cool flag. It's just a regular symbol with wings instead of leaves.
Ted Logan. GPA is going to make a power play. We're going to see like half of the NPO nations get pulled into GPA, and it'll be the longest con ever. And they're going to take the victory lap at the very end and just nuke all of us.
You're gonna find out that the reason why it's called GPA is because they're actually the Pacific Green Colony, right? They were founded long ago in a distant land by NPO. And then they're both going to declare war on Iron.
Come on, NPO, you can declare on Iron. Nobody would get upset. It would be fun to watch. Too.
Yes, that was the joke. It was the opposite, actually, CCT. Mary the Fantabulous was actually a GPA government member.
Realize that.
Well, there's a lot of overlap because most of the people who were around back then were in a lot of alliances.
It was in Invicta, GPA, FAN, but then we have plenty of members who came from Iron or from NPO, so I'm not too surprised.
Yeah, most of the larger alliances, almost everyone was a member of at one point.
Yeah, I mean,
for me, I will sad to admit, it was GGA for a single day.
Oh, that's bringing back a classic.
And then I left because our leader was an insane person. I forgot what his name was, but
well,
remember?
I think that's where most of the alliances got born from, was people who have been playing the game for a while who said, all right, I'm going to go start my own little alliance.
In GGA? I don't think I was ever part of GGA.
It was it was some leader of GGA though. Does anyone else remember in chat? Help. Okay, you guys are all too young, I guess. Feels bad.
I don't know, man. I was like 50,000th person to join, and I ended 2006. Most of us are gone long by now.
ID is in the 32,000s, so I've seen it all.
Yeah, that
seen
was my
nukes fly.
That was my original nation, or something like that. Well, my second nation, because
that's my favorite part. Is
I got the lead in for accidental multis once.
I mean, I'm still rocking my original nation, and that's always fun. And I'm getting up there in ranks as more and more nations start disappearing. I never would have dreamed of being in the top 2,000.
Me either, to be honest. I'm also ranked 150 for casualties, which is pretty damn good.
Let's see here. Where do you see your casualties rank? Oh, here we go. Ooh, hey, Cowboys, I need a few more hits. I'm I'm just outside of the top 1,000.
That's the real measure.
Okay, so new war goal. While we fight forever when we're just piles of tech and money with no infrastructure, get my casualty rate up so I'm in the top 1,000.
Make sure you're always at maximum troops whenever they nuke you.
I get rid of my nuclear fallout shelter. I think that'll help too.
Yeah, who needs Navy anyway, right?
Exactly. Oh, well, especially for me, this is really my first battle where I get to use my Navy, and it's like, oh, look, I destroyed one of your ships. You destroyed one of mine. Who cares? Navy at 100K nation strength is pretty boring.
Oh no, man, I got a lot of boats. I got 65 boats. Yeah, it's
Probably
basically
buy some
just
more.
you keep nuking them until they have no more like blockadable ships, then you start air attacking them better with them carriers and nukes and whatnot.
So what about you, Mogar? What's the future of Cybernations hold for you?
Well, I'm still here, unfortunately. That's about it. I'd like to get back into it, but I'd moved to Florida, so life has been quite busy.
Off all the anacondas and crocodiles to focus on Cybernations.
Right? It's really dangerous here. People don't understand. Like I just walk outside, it's like a hurricane for at least 20 minutes.
Hurricane Chris supposed to touch down. Did you get hit with any of that?
Oh, probably. I could explain why it's been raining for so goddamn long today.
Just call hurricanes Fridays.
Like even if it is, it could have actually literally been a hurricane today. Who knows? Yeah, there's some big ass band of weather. I don't know. I just accept that it's a lot of rain all the time because it's Florida, so it's basically a swamp.
At least you have Disney World? Question mark.
Yeah, I'm actually in the Orlando area, so it's like not actually all that useful. Like if I was rich, I guess it'd be cool, but
I heard Disney World pretty much runs Orlando. Is that true?
yeah, that's why for a city the size of Orlando, first off, 3 million, like almost, I think it's actually almost 4 million, but something like 3 million people live in the Orlando area. Everything shuts down at 2 o'clock. Every other city I've lived in that's like that size or bigger, like 4 a.m. minimum for like an actual shutdown time. And they pretty much run the actual town that they own, like to the point that they actually have like their own police force and stuff. Disney's scary, man. Be careful.
I saw what they did to my Star Wars movies, so yeah, I feel
That's why
for
they're
you,
building
brother.
the police force. It all makes sense.
It's all to make people watch the Star Wars movies.
It's also they're like really, really bad at taking care of their employees. Which you can find out by pretty much anything. Like anyone who works there, they'll tell you.
You see some nice.
It's not quite that bad, but it is pretty scary, man.
See, this is the meat of the conversation that everyone logged in to see. They probably
Yeah,
Yeah,
the Disney police.
well, we were probably disappointing them when I was like, "Yeah, we're fan. We're kind of just bopping around. What's new with you?" This is the hard-hitting stories they were looking for. Star Wars, and now they're coming for you.
Like they're ready.
Let's really start the fires. How did everyone feel about The Last Jedi?
It was garbage. I really hated it.
Yeah, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and even with the new Disney stuff, I enjoyed Rogue One. I thought Solo was fun to watch, but The Last Jedi just wasn't good.
Okay, Rogue One. I think it was a pretty sad ending. I'll say. I'm not gonna do any spoilers, but it wasn't an ideal ending. Let's say then.
Spoil it,
But
I will.
overall, it was a good movie. I'd say.
Those are the
That was the literal worst part of that movie. By the way, was her doing that. That was dumb. There was no reason for that at all. Should have just died. Everyone would have been happier.
If I were making Star Wars movies, the spin-offs, you don't need to really explain too much. Everybody knows the Star Wars universe. Just have fun with it. And I think that's kind of what they did. I mean, Solo's a little tough because I was really worried they were going to rewrite how Han and Chewie met, but it was fun, but Rogue One, they could pretty much just have fun with it, and I think they knocked it out of the park.
And I did like
Solo
The
was
Force Awakens as well, I will admit. It wasn't, I'm not going to say it was the best movie, but it hit all the right notes.
I watched it earlier today. It was on TNT, and it's fun. It was a fun movie. I think ultimately the biggest problem was Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams had two different visions for the trilogy. They heard them because you get a lot of loose ends not tied up with that new movie.
What do you mean? I took all the things from the first movie, and then I killed every single one of them in the second movie. And then I created all these new ones that the original guy is going to have to come back and solve. It makes a lot of sense, and it's going to be a really coherent trilogy, I think.
Isn't Rian Johnson taking the next trilogy too? That he was writing that one.
I know that they definitely brought him back in because they're just like, he fucked up, so please fix.
Yeah, of course, we do realize we're holding our breath for J.J. Abrams to tie up loose ends, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure we're all on the same page.
That's the unfortunate aspect.
There will be another trilogy forever and always, as long as they make money off of it.
Okay, since I live so close to Disney, I'm going to let you know a secret here. Their plan is they're going to buy absolutely every single IP they can, which include, if they can actually get Fox right now, they're literally going to be making 2 Marvel movies every single year minimum for the rest of your life. They're also going to be making at least 1, probably 2 though, Star Wars movies as well for the rest of your life.
I feel like not enough people are afraid of what's going on, because Incredibles 2.
Be concerned about this because it's going to be oversaturating, and then everyone's going to hate it.
The fact that they won't have really any competition left, so they have no real incentive to make good movies.
All if they just can make money is the thing.
Right. I'm wondering has Disney made up their big investment for Star Wars on merchandise alone, or
so it doesn't really matter. But they're going to want to keep it alive, obviously. And actually, Lawson, what we need is a crime show starring some type of criminal rogue type in the capital city of the whole empire. You have to be not quite like 24 level of intensity, but you'd want it to be pretty like fast paced, and like the guy has to be constantly moving because he's getting chased by criminals or whatever,
Hearing is NCIS Coruscant.
That's pretty much where I'm going with this. So you could have it be like a cops and robbers thing where you have the criminal side, and then you have the 20 minutes of the detectives chasing him kind of thing. I was thinking more of like a bounty hunter kind of thing. But like actual detectives could be a thing too, because they did actually have police, as sad as that is, somewhere on that stupid city.
I think this is a great idea, and we might as well make Boba Fett do it, because he literally does not do anything in the movies.
He gets knocked over like imaginarily.
Cool cheat to camera thing in the like re-updated episode 4.
You got like ninja kick or like force kicked into the monster thing.
Your audience is way too calm. I'm trying to push all the internet buttons just to see them blow up. I was a Wedge Antilles man myself growing up. Something for bashing Boba Fett.
I don't think most people like Boba Fett, to be honest.
It's one of those things. It's like people liking Majora's Mask over Ocarina of Time now. It's just something they feel. I feel like Boba Fett's going to bounce back.
I think that he's going to be the next solo movie that they make. If I had to take a guess.
Yeah, they can't. I mean, they were going to do a Fett movie and they were going to do a Kenobi movie, but they canceled it based on how Solo did.
I think they're still going to make one of them.
They just postpone it.
Yeah, because they're still making an Untitled movie for 2020.
MASH idea, though.
Or I know for 2019, there's still going to be some movie that they're releasing next year before they release Episode 9. And yeah, everyone wants Obi-Wan, but they're not going to give Obi. They're going to give you something stupid instead. You should know that.
They'll find a way to completely ruin your favorite character.
Yes.
That seems to be their general theme these days. I like Poe Dameron. He's a good character.
I actually, while on that topic, I would actually really, really like to see a movie that is similar, not necessarily like full on like Wall-E level, but like more focused on the bots. Because like you can't tell me that C-3PO and R2-D2 didn't see some shit.
That though, L337 really was annoying in Solo.
I don't know if you ever played. Did you ever play Knights of the Old Republic? There's a assassin droid, HK-47. I want to see HK-47 in a movie.
I kind of think the next trilogy is going to be more Jedi focused. We're going to see like the new Jedi Order type deal, but yeah, I mean, throw in some more bounty hunters. I think Solo explored a really fun galaxy that we really don't see that much.
The whole criminal underground is actually insane.
Sure, with the Black Suns, Prince Zizor, throwing all those fun things.
That's only like a small portion of the galaxy too that we even saw in that movie.
I mean,
that is.
I think the general consensus is just don't bring in the Yuuzhan Vong, and we'll be fine.
They actually are almost certainly going to do that at some point, I think.
Are you reading the Thrawn books or anything like that?
Yeah, and I like the nod they did to that makes me think like, you know,
the outer or the outside galaxy threat or whatever they're calling it.
Yeah.
Yeah, gonk droids.
Is there actually going to be a new Dune movie? I look forward to that.
That's it. You're a big Dune guy.
I liked really liked there's like a movie version that was on like Sci-Fi or something in like the 90s or early 2000s. I like that one. The original one was good. I wish that they had, you know, modern graphics or at least early 90s graphics.
What you're talking about, Star Wars is canon on Planet Bob.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You can finish your protesting.
Oh, hello.
There you go. Hello.
I was expecting a sound when I was unmuted.
Boo-doo.
No one told me that I actually just only muted you on my end, Ginger. So if you're talking throughout the interview, I'm sorry.
No, I muted. Well, my mic mutes itself if I put my microphone part up, so I just did that so you guys wouldn't hear me typing.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty great that he went unmuted the entire time.
Because
I
my
trusted
keyboard
him.
can be loud.
Yeah, the
Mogar, you
mechanicals.
want to give us a nice little send off so Brian can stop recording? And I'm just here to say, Cowboys, get ready for a war.
Who is? You are?
I was gonna say you do a send off. You're the host. I'm
I
just an
guess,
annoying guest.
Well, I guess have a good night, everyone, and you know, listen in next week or whenever I decide to do this next. Goodbye.